You've decided economy isn't enough. You want more space, a proper meal, a bit of sleep. Premium economy is the sensible option, but now you've got 5 airlines in front of you and the prices make no sense. One is charging £1,000, another is charging nearly £2,500. Same route, same weekend, same cabin class. So which of the 5 major airlines flying premium economy across the Atlantic actually deserves your money? I've flown all of them: Virgin Atlantic, United, Delta, British Airways, American. Same route, same class, all on my own money. But before I start comparing those flights, I ask you what matters most. 81% of you said the same thing: the seat. Not the food, not the screen, not the check-in desk, the seat you're sitting in for 8 hours. As one of you put it, everything else you can work around. Bring your own headphones, bring a neck pillow, bring snacks, but you can't bring your own seat. So that's exactly where this comparison will start. Welcome to Doors to Automatic. I'm Anthony. I've flown over 1 million miles, and on this channel I review premium cabins honestly. What's good, what isn't, and whether it's worth your money. Love travel, aviation, or just chasing the thrill of the skies? Hit that subscribe button and come along for the ride. Today, all 5 Transatlantic premium economy products go head to head, scored across 8 categories, worth 100 points, with seat and cabin taking pride of place. And because price is such a factor here, I'll show you 2 final scores at the end, one weighted the way you voted, and one where every category counts equally. Let's start with what counts most: the seat. 8 hours, that's how long you're in this seat. 1/3 of your day. Width first. Virgin Atlantic gives you 20 inches on the A330-300, genuinely wide, wider than some older business class. Everyone else sits between 18.5 inches and 19 inches, including Virgin's other, newer aircraft. Pitch is 38 inches across all 5, industry standard, no differentiation. Recline is where it gets interesting. British Airways gives you 10 inches, the best of the 5 by a clear margin. United gives you 6, that's the lowest, and on an overnight, it's the difference between dozing and not sleeping at all. British Airways offers a padded headrest, which I'd argue is more comfortable than the adjustable headrests that the others offer. Leg rests. American, British Airways, Delta, United and Virgin all have them, but only Delta offers a proper calf rest that supports the full length of your lower leg. And once you've had one, you notice its absence everywhere else. One more thing worth knowing: air vents, those little gasper vents you can actually control, are on every airline here except British Airways. BA doesn't fit them to most aircraft in the fleet. In a warm cabin, that's a genuine gap. United's 6-inch recline cost it here. 25 points out of 35, the lowest of the 5. Before you even board. All 5 give you priority check-in, American, British Airways and Virgin at dedicated premium economy desks. Delta and United alongside business class, which is arguably better. Baggage is 2 checked bags at 23 kilos on 4 of them. United is the exception. Some fares include only 1 and you pay for the second. None of the 5 include lounge access, but United sometimes lets you buy it at booking, which none of the others offer. Fast track security comes with the ticket on some routes with the 3 American carriers. British Airways and Virgin don't include it at all. United's restricted baggage costs it a point, but buying lounge access wins it straight back. This is where the experience gets personal and where the gap between these 5 is widest. American was the low point. The crew appeared for meal services and vanished in between. No drinks offered, no check-ins, a very long wait after takeoff before anything happened at all. It felt transactional. British Airways were attentive and professional, but missed a trick. I had gold status, which should have meant priority on the choice of main meal. Nobody acknowledged it, and sitting at the back of the cabin, my first choice was gone by the time they reached me. United were responsive. Call bell answered in about 30 seconds, but professional rather than warm. Delta and Virgin were in a different category. Dedicated crew, visible throughout, offering things before you asked. On Delta, someone clocked that I'd had a Jack Daniels after departure and brought me premium miniatures down from the business class cart later in the flight. That's the kind of detail that separates good service from great. American's absent crew cost it half the category, 5 out of 10. 15 points, and the second thing you voted for. American was okay. 2 mains on the first service, but just a chickpea salad on the second. And the execution was uninspiring. It felt like fuel rather than dining, and drinks came in plastic cups. Plastic cups in a premium cabin. British Airways was the weakest on quality. 2 mains and a pasty for the second service that didn't land. The wine and spirits list was genuinely good though. United had a better variety. 3 mains on the first service, 2 hot options on the second, and better food than either. But everything, coffee included, came in disposable cups. Delta and Virgin were on another level, and it wasn't the food that separated them so much as everything around it. Proper glassware, trays that looked considered rather than assembled, pre-order on both. Timing matters too. Every airline here got a first service moving shortly after takeoff, except American, where it was over an hour before I was offered so much as a drink. That late first service and the plastic cups drop American to 7 out of 15. 6 points, and mostly a convergent story. Screens are good across the board. 10.5 inches on American and Virgin, 12 on British Airways, 13 on Delta and United. Only United's gave me trouble. It stalled repeatedly, and the graphics overlays caused problems. Content libraries varied more than you'd expect. United had the most films at over 400. Virgin had the fewest at 123, though it does carry nearly 1,000 audio albums, far more than anyone else. Headphones are fine on 4 of the 5. Virgin's were awful. I didn't want them on my head for 20 minutes, let alone 8 hours. Wi-Fi is converging. Some still charge on some flights, but everyone's moving to free high speed as standard. It won't be a differentiator for much longer. Virgin's thin content library and those headphones drop it to 4 out of 6. The only real weak spot in an otherwise strong showing. 13 points here, covering the bathrooms, the cabin, the amenity kit, and what you get to sleep under. Virgin is the only carrier with dedicated premium economy toilets across the current fleet. American has them on some aircraft. British Airways, Delta and United, you're sharing with economy. And on the BA and United aircraft I flew, they were noticeably cramped. Cabin cleanliness was good on all 5, no separation there. Amenity kits were where United surprised me. Theirs was genuinely business class quality, real materials, not the thin token version. American, British Airways and Delta all do a competent standard kit. Virgin's was the weakest, and bedding, 4 of the 5 give you a substantial blanket and a decent pillow. Virgin's fleece blanket is fine, but the pillow is noticeably smaller. On an overnight, you feel it. Dedicated toilets are what separate them here. Virgin has them fleet-wide, American on some aircraft, and that puts both on 10 out of 13. All 5 give you a bifolding tray table and a dedicated cocktail table to the side. All 5 have power and USB at every seat. Under-seat storage separates them. My rucksack went under the seat in front on American, British Airways, Delta and Virgin without a fight. On United it simply didn't fit. Then there's configuration. Delta runs a seat configuration of mostly 222 and 232 across the aisle. Virgin and United are mostly 232. American and British Airways both operate significant numbers of 242 aircraft, and that middle block of 4 changes how the cabin feels. It's not just the seat, it's the aisle, the movement, the sense of space. American and British Airways lose out on those majority 242 cabins. United loses out on storage. 6 points, and the most revealing number in this whole comparison. I priced the same route, London to New York, long weekend, premium economy, direct, across 3 booking windows. Virgin, British Airways and United cluster pretty consistently between just over £1,000 and £1,500 across all 3 sample periods. Remarkably stable. British Airways in particular barely moves, 1100 to 1300 across August, October and February. American mostly sits with them, but spikes hard in October, over £2,500, more than double its February price, worth knowing if you're travelling in autumn. Then there's Delta on its own metal, 2,650 in August, nearly 2,000 in October, 2,550 in February, consistently the most expensive option, sometimes by nearly double. And here's what makes it difficult to defend. Delta and Virgin code share. In August you can book the Virgin operated flight with a Delta flight number for £1,325. Book Delta's own aircraft on the same route and it's £2,654. Over £1,300 more for a comparable cabin, just different metal. British Airways and American code share in the same way. Worth checking both sites before you book. Delta's product is genuinely good, but its pricing pushes down its value and scores 2 out of 6. 5 airlines, 8 categories, 100 points, and after 35 hours in the air and thousands of pounds spent, here's how they finish. American Airlines Premium Economy, 71 points. United Premium Plus, 74. British Airways World Traveller Plus, 77. Delta Premium Select, 82. And Virgin Atlantic Premium, 83 points. Virgin wins by a single point. And if you strip the weighting out entirely, so every category counts the same regardless of how you voted, Virgin still wins, 85 to Delta's 81. However you cut it, it's Virgin and Delta is right behind. So what does that mean when you're actually booking? If you want the best of these products, Virgin Atlantic, great crew, excellent catering, proper glassware, and priced alongside everyone rather than above them. If you're price-led, British Airways, 77 points, consistently the cheapest of the 5, and if you can live without air vents and with ordinary catering, it's the value pick. Delta's product genuinely deserves its 82 points. Its pricing doesn't though. Unless you have status or a schedule only Delta fits, look at the Virgin operated code share first. Same route, same day, potentially £1,300 less. And that's the real takeaway. The best premium economy on this route isn't the most expensive one. It's nowhere near. If you want to go deeper on any of these airlines, I've done full-length reviews of all 5. There's a playlist linked on screen now. And if you've flown any of these cabins, I want to know, did I get it right? Drop your airline and verdict in the comments. If this was useful, a like and subscribe means a lot, and I'll see you in the next video.